Courage isn't what you do because you have no fear. It's what you do despite having fear. So why did I have this cryptic intro about courage? Well, part of it has to do with what I talked about in my last vlog, which is that my husband's leaving his job, and that can be kind of scary, and I would be lying if I didn't feel the pressures of that to some extent. But this is what I want to be doing. This is what I want to do. So I'm willing to do what it takes in order to have the best shot at it. But again, I would also be lying if there isn't just like a small part of me that's like, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work in a time frame that like I can get it to, you know, support us both? So that's just, it's been on my mind lately. I'm trying to not let it kind of overrun my thoughts, and kind of the way that I go about proactively dealing with this is by taking action instead of just sitting here thinking, wishing, wanting. I want this to work so badly. I want to be paid on YouTube. I want to have all my originals sell and like people fall in love with them, all of these things. And I'm working tirelessly to get that to that point. And I'm willing to put in the work to get there. But the way that I'm kind of mitigating the anxiety is by taking action and just making sure that I'm continually just showing up, getting paintings done, editing videos, just doing the best I can and letting the world happen. I've been really lucky. The last 6 months have been really good to me in that I've been selling a lot of artwork. I have a print drop coming up, so if not, probably by the time this video comes out, it's already live. So make sure to check that out. It's for the entire month of April. Yeah, just continuing. The YouTube growth is really what I'm focusing on. And I have some plans that I think I'm gonna change a little bit of the type of videos that I create. Maybe not creating as many as I have been over the last year, but more just like artistic ones. The self-taught artist is gonna be here always. That's gonna be like where I teach you guys. The other ones, I think I'm gonna lean a little bit more into art vlog styles where we just kind of like talk about things, and I'm maybe not teaching you as much, but hopefully it's very engaging and inspiring and feel good and, you know, entertaining, that sort of stuff. Maybe a little bit less educational. While we're talking about anxieties, however, the other thing that I'm a little bit worried about is these big ones that are behind me. The horse show that I'm going to is going to be in July, which I know is still a lot of time, but I really just want to make sure that I have them done and done really well. They're gonna get done, but it's just taking me longer than I expected to, and it's not even active work hours on them that's taking longer. It's everything else that I'm trying to do on top of it, and like life just happens, and I'm working really hard on myself to not get anxious about that, because I'm the type of personality that when that happens, I'm like, well, I gotta work harder and more. And I think the opposite is actually the most beneficial for me. It sounds completely bonkers and backwards, but I'm so easy and ready to just like jump in and work harder and longer and more, but like I think that actually ends up hurting my creativity more, whereas like if it's a balance of like doing enough that I'm making forward progress, but not pushing so hard that it's just like mindless. And so giving myself just the space to be like what would it feel like to just show up to the studio and be like, oh, I feel like painting this today, and I'm gonna paint this until I like feel like I want to be done with it. And if it's like only 2 hours of painting today, that's fine because I feel like it. I don't know what that's like. That's not remotely how I operate. But I'm kind of interested in trying some of that and just seeing what happens and kind of like what kind of art comes from that. But again, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not explaining it super well, but I'm just so ready to work harder. And I've noticed a big increase in the quality of my work by forcing myself to actually just like take a step back and take a break. But nevertheless, the big ones need to get done. This week is going to be dedicated to that, well, this one, and we'll go from there, just baby steps and doing the best I can. And then the last thing, it was kind of interesting. So one of my very early YouTube videos is one of my top performers. It has like 29,000 views, and I have never watched it since I posted it. Partially, I think because I was afraid to look back at it and I was afraid that I would look back and this painting that I did such a good job on, I was afraid that it maybe the video didn't look as good as I thought it did. And I just didn't want to be embarrassed by it. So for 2 years, I just haven't looked at it. And something came over me last night and I decided to do that and watch it. And it was a very interesting experience, partially because when I watched it, I was like, what in the world? This was actually really quite well done. Some of the color grading is a little off, some of the audio is a little off, but like as far as like shots of me painting and like different angles and a little bit of like a story, I don't know, it just was like really well done. And in some ways that makes me a little bit sad. Okay, I'll start off with the fact that to some extent I think it was a happy mistake in that I didn't really know what I was doing, both painting wise and filming, but the stars aligned and there was enough that happened that it just came together really well, but it wasn't done in a way of like knowledge. I didn't get there because I was like, oh, I know what I did. I know that this is successful. I know these things. It was one of those where like, I had no idea what I was doing. I just tried my best and did whatever. And it like accidentally turned into this great piece of artwork and video. So it was a happy mistake. But in some ways that makes me kind of sad because I feel like I've regressed a little bit from that in some aspects. And I don't know, there was something where I was like, was I just more intuitive then? And so the video just like came across as better. But like, I don't know, I didn't know what I was doing. And it turned out so great. And so to then be on the other side where sometimes I feel like I try so hard and that doesn't happen, I just feel like that took zero thought and effort and it just like looked great. And here I am trying so hard and it doesn't always look great. I don't know, it's kind of like disheartening, but also like inspiring and just a really good reminder that I need to just kind of go back into myself and just have fun with it. I think ultimately the most important thing is to just have fun and play. And I'm so kind of business minded and structure minded that can be difficult. I'm someone that has to remind myself to play in regards to that. But it's a good reminder, and I think it's a good process because that oftentimes is kind of the trajectory where you start off with this happy mistake, but you don't really know why it works. It just did. And then in the process of trying to recreate that, you like go through all of these ups and downs and mistakes and failures and triumphs, and you go through the entire spectrum of emotions and levels of capability, and in order to gain the skills that now you can get back to that, but now you're doing it with knowledge. So whereas like that was like a one-time thing, you work through all of these problems, you do it again, but now you're able to do it more often and more consistently because you've made so many mistakes and learned so much along the process and like had so many flops that now you're like, okay, I see why that video worked and what worked about that painting and how I did it, all these things. So I'm hoping that that's kind of what I'm feeling right now, is that I'm looking back on that and that was a happy mistake. I went through this period of just trial and error and learning and everything to get to this point where now I can hopefully try to recreate stuff like that and have the same quality, but have it more often and more consistently because I'm doing it with a lot more knowledge. Okay, I should just like title this entire vlog Anxiety. That's the theme for this week. The plus side is I started riding again. My horse always goes on winter break and yeah, he gets like 3 months off for the winter because the weather's so bad and our soil is not great, so it's just easier and safer for everyone to just give him time off. But we're back at it now, and I put on his first ride today and he was phenomenal. He was a gentleman, so no matter what goes on with Art, at least my horse is perfect, so that's great. Other than that, I just feel like this week is gonna be a hefty balance of working on big paintings, editing videos. If you are ever going through a period of kind of just like anxiety, one of my best tips to leave you with is to take action instead of just sitting idle. I think the more that you think about it and ruminate over it, the more you will kind of create misery surrounding it. So just take action, big or small. If small efforts are all you can give, then like just incremental 1% step forward and like continuation. Action will just break you out of so much of it. Even if it's like not in direct regards to it, like working out has nothing directly to do with my painting, but if I'm in an anxious mood and I just like can't get myself to go paint or whatever, then I'll go make myself work out. I'll go on a walk. I'll do something. I'll take action doing something that's productive. And those little decisions and little pushes, they add up to a lot. So that's my little PSA for this video. And I hope you all are doing so well. I'm very happy that spring and summer are on its way. And as always, thank you so much for joining, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.